just one big story, isn't it?
Hi everybody, welcome to the Story Connection. I'm your host, Donna Wilberg. Well, tonight my guest is a marketing dynamo who's appeared on national TV. She's an author and she's just an all-around wonderful person. Welcome, Mchelle Smith.
Thank you, Donna, for having me. I'm very excited to be here and and share for the Sacramento community like how we can all help any business owner with marketing. But
well, you're quite, the first time I saw you, I thought, I really need to get to know her because you're so contagious. Your enthusiasm, your ideas, they're so fresh, and you've got quite the story. You started out as a Fortune 500. You worked with those kind of companies, and then you branched out and started your own stuff. How did that go for you?
Yes, it went quite well. Obviously, it went quite well. But I did a lot of marketing for home building. That's how I got my start. And I went there. I did the whole path, and I ran Fortune 500 companies. And as a 27-year-old running a $7 million budget, if anyone that knows me knows that I shouldn't be managing that type of money ever. All good, and I did that, and I ran the path, and then I did the whole .com path, and I actually I ran the marketing for several high level like .com organizations, and I did that, hung tight, and all of a sudden I saw that like kind of crashing down as it does, and then everything kind of crashed, and I decided to quit my job and start my own company, and that's basically how everything turned out. But it was an overnight thing. It wasn't just like I'm just going to wake up in the morning and start a marketing company. It was just a wake up and let's get really real with yourself and what's actually going to work for yourself and work with your clients. And it was awesome, but very scary at the same time. My father actually started one of the largest IT companies back in the 80s, and he sat there and said, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And after I quit my job, he said, oh, by the way, guess what company I started in 1982? I started laughing. I'm like, oh, that was you. Okay, so my dad and I kind of have this little tight little relationship right now because he actually walks the walk that he talks, and he's been a big inspiration for me, and that's basically how he ran with everything.
There's so much to marketing. Is there a specific area that you have an expertise in, or you're just kind of out there for everything and anybody?
No, absolutely no. There's an absolute niche. That's a great question. I deal with public relations is my biggest thing ever, because most clientele don't realize the fact that they can actually grow their business from PR. It's quiet, it's very tangible, it's very amazing, and it grows your business. And so I specialize in that. I was very lucky to actually have the right connections, start doing that type of thing. What I learned on way early on is I actually bought lists from different other marketing companies, and that would get you so far, but it's not enough to where you can actually say, hey, I have this many business leads. This is what the results of my campaign, and this is where it grows. And so that's my biggest thing. My whole thing is ROI for clients, and most people don't have that when they just decide to think, okay, I'm going to invest in a PR campaign, and I kind of say, okay, here's the whole picture, here's what I can do, and here's the end game.
Yeah. Well, you yourself had quite the little venture. You ended up on the Rachel Ray show. Let's talk. Everyone wants to hear about that, okay?
Yes. Okay, well, basically what happened there was one of my best friends actually was an executive producer for World News. And she sat there and said, hey, like, I have this friend that wants to interview new moms. And as a new mom, and my whole thing is just like, okay, like, your body's a mess. Like, your whole life's a mess. Like, it's this whole, just like, you're trying to like start a company and just like mess. And you go out and do it. And then all of a sudden this producer calls and she basically said, hey, I'm a friend, your friend Jen's, and I want to have you on the show. And I thought, oh, this is hilarious. It got to a point where I'm thinking, yeah, maybe this is not the right fit for me, and maybe I should not do this. Mm-hmm. And against my gut, I decided, like, hey, I'm going to do this anyways. I'm actually going to sit down. I'm going to do this. And I did, and it was awesome because, I met Valerie Bertinelli, I met Rachel Ray, and I actually really learned the whole national talk show cycle for my clients. And that was the most important thing for me, is to actually learn something for my clients to pass on and say, hey, you know what? Here's exactly what you're getting into. And so I did this, and it wasn't the most, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It wasn't the most beautiful thing in the world, because most people think like you're on national television and they're like, oh, this is awesome. I'm going to get XYZ, and here's the exposure I'm going to get. Here's like the sales I'm going to get and everything else. And I had to sit there and say, hey, like, this is a really good learning experience for myself and for my clients. And so I will never turn down that experience, but it's been one of those things where I was very, all right, good learning experience, and I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Really?
But at the same time, though, I can educate my clients in the fact, say, hey, here's what goes on when you're on a national spot. Here is what goes down, like, hands down. And they're like, okay, perfect.
Well, for the people that are out there that are thinking, that's where I want to be. That's what I want. That's what I'm striving for.
Yeah.
What do they have to look forward to? Can you share that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No. That's a great question. I think the answer to that is, like, what are they going to take from that interview and pull for their own general interests? It's not okay, hey, yeah, you're going to be famous in 5 seconds. It does not work that way at all. It's going to be completely, we're going this angle, this angle, this angle. It's not what your publicist can do. It's not what anyone else can do. It's very, I hate to say jaded. I mean, it's not fair, but it's one of those things where it's just people have these unrealistic expectations where they're going to, okay, Oprah.
Right.
I make like, X amount of dollars per, spot, XYZ, blah, done. And it doesn't work that way. And that's what made me very actually jaded, for lack of a better word, on TV. It was just one of those things where, like, you know what?
So what were you expecting, like, to be paid?
I wasn't. I was on it for a fun spot. I was on for a fun spot.
So you didn't get paid?
I didn't get paid. I was on for a fun spot. I thought I was going to sit there and just...
Were you even in the credits?
I think I was. I was actually very disturbed on it when I was in every... after TV spot. It was like after like Christmas. I was in every spot, like, oh, hey, check this out, bought new bombs. I'm going, you've got to be kidding right now. Like, this is not my company. This is not what I do for a living. But I can educate my clients, and that's one thing I can take away from that experience.
So did they take the footage that, your segment of the show, and did they use it for promos?
Absolutely.
Okay. Without paying you? Oh, naughty.
It's a learning experience, and it's one thing that I can actually pass on to my clients. That's one thing I can absolutely say, hey, here's what you expect. Like, here's how it rolls. Like, here's, people will interview with this segment in mind, but then they'll pull out what they want, and then they'll run with it. So it's one of those things where... as a publicist, it's been a huge learning experience. I'm very thankful for that. But I'm at the same time, I educate everyone I work with. Like, you want to be on a Today Show? Okay, here's what's going to go down. Here's what's going to go down for any national spot you ever have. Because I love you. Here's what's going to roll. And they sit there, and for the most of the time, they listen.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Well, I hate to tell you, but you're not getting paid for this show either.
I know. It's fine.
I'm so sorry.
But I love you. It's fine.
But, now I feel better knowing that, the national shows aren't paying either. So.
It's fine. No, it's fine. I just rather educate.
We do this to promote. We do this to promote. I mean, that's...
And
that's
educating is
exactly.
perfect. If you're educating consumers, business owners, I think that is the smartest thing you can do as a host, which I totally respect you for, or as a business owner, like educate, like hands down. Like it's not pretty. You're not going to be, the starlet at the end of the day. And that's not how it works.
So how did you get into publishing?
Well, that's actually really funny. I actually got into publishing because I had a business owner way back when, like several years ago, and she kind of taught me the reins. I thought, okay, I had half my clients were authors. And I thought, how can I help you promote your book? And I sat there and I really kind of aligned into like books. Like, is it a business book? Can I promote this? How can I help you? If it's a business book, I can run with it, and it's very, very fun. And that's how exactly I started getting into publishing. Then I learned the whole back end of it by accident, and it's kind of how it rolled out. And then I got to know the publisher back east very well. They're the most affordable publisher back east, like to say the least. Like it's not, paper is not cheap. And I found someone that sat there and said, hey, here's my cost, here are my hard costs. And I ran with them. And so I started rolling with them with different publishing projects. And
well, you've written 3 books?
4 now,
books.
but yeah.
Oh, okay, well, talk about your books. Come on, Mchelle.
Okay, which one?
We're promoting you.
I think my favorite one is PRU, which is absolutely about publicity and how people can actually promote their business and really get themselves out there. That's the one I'm most passionate about. The other ones are, they're great. They're business books and they're fabulous, but it's one of those things where you just kind of gravitate to certain things, like business-wise. That's my first one I'd say I'm totally passionate about. And the other one is I wrote a college book where it's basically the whole skinny on Chico State, and it's very naughty. It's completely, it's the worst book you could ever write about Chico State college students, and I wrote it, and I ghost wrote all the stories that came into it, and I do it all over again. It's awesome. But it's just one of those things where you just kind of like cringe and roll your eyes. And my parents have not read this book, and they really want to probably take me out. But other than that,
now everyone's going to want to read it.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
So is it like stories about things that go on at Chico State?
Really, it's hard truth. Here's what went down during my college days, and it's very, it's horrible.
Personal experience. Okay.
I'm not saying anything that's personally involved. Donna,
it wasn't me. That's all you got to do.
I did not do that.
It wasn't me. And what else? Okay, so that's 2.
Okay, and then I did a writing book. I did a publishing book called, I did Smash, the marketing book, and I did Vanity Circus, which is the whole publishing book, and how to actually self-publish and actually successfully do that, like quietly as a self-publisher. So I did both.
Well, that's very interesting. Yeah, I know a lot of writers, and they're always asking me, what do you think? Self-publish or go with a publisher? Or, so books like that are very informative and very helpful.
It's very helpful, but we have to look at is when you are a self-publisher, is what you're looking at is the royalty agreement. So say you're dealing with massive, big contracts, you're looking at 5 to 12%, and that's nothing compared to, going with not in iTunes, but you're dealing with such a low percentage of what you're dealing with royalty-wise, and so it's very one of those things where you have to look at the income that you're looking at and then go from there.
Yeah, interesting. Well, what can your clients expect from you when they hire you?
Well, it's fun. We're the Google marketing companies, and I'd love to invite your whole team to our office because it's so fun. We absolutely deliver everything. And it sounds weird saying like, oh, we can actually help you out with any project you have to deal with, but it's one of those things where you come to our office and it's just people don't leave because they don't leave. No, they really don't leave. But it's one of those things where it's, here's the projects we can help you out with. Here's what we dial down everything, and we kind of sit down and talk to our clients, and it's awesome.
That's good. But I mean, what kind of can you give some examples of procedures?
Absolutely.
Where would you start? Where would you finish?
Well, it depends. Like, I mean, if someone comes into our office and says, "Okay, I need X, Y, Z," we sit there and we actually put that on television. We'll sit there and say, "Okay, here's X, Y, Z," like totally verbatim, totally like on television. Like here's X, here's Y, here's this, here's how we can help you. And that's how we help people, because most people, especially from a marketing perspective, they can't understand the fact that you have a marketing company and then they actually like go, okay, well, we can do X, Y, Z, or we can do this, or we can do whatever. And they sit there. So we create the visuals for them, number one. Number two, they like it. We actually do that verbatim, and we sit there and we actually, boom, done. It's done by the time I leave the office. It's awesome.
So do you direct people, like if they're interested in doing more print, or if they're interested in doing commercials, or if they're interested in doing more hands-on type, getting out there with little, paper advertisements or whatever. Is that what the kind of decisions that you make for a company, or is it what they want and then you just facilitate it?
Well, it really depends on what the client needs. If they need that, then we sit there and go, okay, well, you need X, Y, Z. You need this. Here's X, Y, Z you need for a marketing company. If not, we don't even go there. But if people are in our office, it's like click, 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 done. And it's fine. And they're happy, we're happy. So it really depends on, what the client's needs are. It's not.
Yeah. What's one of your biggest success stories?
Wow. I think my favorite one is Dr. Greg. He wrote Feed Your Pet to Avoid the Vet, and he went international, and he had sales all across, like everywhere, to a point where he'd call me from, New Mexico or whatever country, and he's like, okay, I think my book's priced too high. And I start laughing. I'm like, hey, all right, where are you? What's going on? We have a conversation, and he says, all right, no problem. We're good. Done. So that's one of my favorite ones. My other ones have been fashion models. My other ones have been, they're all across the board. It's not, I'm passionate.
How do you market fashion models?
Very carefully. Good question. I market fashion models quite carefully. It's more of, I think like what their, basically their nonprofit is, because that's actually the hugest thing. If you are a model, it's actually a lot easier to get a lot of exposure if you are not, hey, I'm just modeling or doing whatever. And we sit down and I figure out the whole program and we go from there, and that's what we do. So that's been the easiest thing, but it's not, to be totally honest, it's not my particular thing that I do. But lately it's just been like one of those things where it's fun. It's just super fun because I'm a girl. Like I like clothes and I like hair, and I'm like, yay.
This is going to be a good one.
It's fun.
So, what kind of recommendations can you give business owners out there? Do you have a quick little
absolutely.
elevator speech?
I do. I think that the best thing that you can do is follow up. Most business owners do not follow up. They sit there and they do not do that whatsoever. And it's no fault. It's busy. You're busy.
Yeah.
It's just sitting down, sending a like hands down email, just like, hey, nice to meet you, whatever you want to do, just that's the first step. Then maybe do one follow-up after that, and then just chill. Because if they didn't respond, and this is a total, like a PR tip, if they didn't respond with you, that's a whole like, all right, red flag, like I annoyed somebody or whatever. So it's just like email, like phone call, email. That's one thing I would definitely recommend, and it works. It hands down works.
Good. Do you have any other books in the works?
I do.
Do you want to share?
Not really, but I will. I do have, I have a girlfriend who's actually recently single, so we're actually doing a dating book together on just, it's very like, it's totally like A and B like book, and I'm very reluctant to do it, but I love her to death, so I'm doing it. It's great. It'll be fun.
Sounds like fun.
It'll be fun. It's very mellow.
Is it the pitfalls of dating or being single? Or?
It's not the pitfalls. It's more of like a kind of like a how-to. More of like a here's how you don't like mess up, for lack of a word.
Wow. Okay, so we've only got a few more minutes. Why don't you give everybody your information, how they can get a hold of you, and we'll go from there.
Great. I can be reached at mcommunicationsinc.com or Mchelle, 1L, at mcommunicationsinc.com, and that's my info.
Good. All right. Well, let's give some information about the Story Connection, shall we?
The Story Connection airs the second and fourth Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our companion show, Paranormal Connection, airs the first and third Thursdays of each month. Each episode repeats the following Friday at 1:30 p.m. and Saturday at 5:30 a.m. Watch these programs online at the same airtimes by going to accesssacramento.org and clicking Watch 17. In the Sacramento region, you can see us on Comcast Channel 17 and on AT&T Channel 99. You can find previously aired shows on the Story Connection YouTube channel. For information on upcoming shows and previous Story Connection guests, go to storyconnectiontv.blogspot.com. You can contact us at storyconnectiontv@gmail.com, and don't forget, find us on Facebook, become a friend, and become a fan.
What do you see yourself, or where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Are you building outward, upward? How's that? What are your prospects?
That's a great question. I see myself actually doing burgers on the beach. I am going to not be in the States. I will not be here. And I'm going to love it. It's going to be awesome.
Are you going to be selling burgers or eating burgers on the beach?
Both. I'm retired. I plan on being retired.
Oh, very nice.
Yep. I plan on being retired.
Any particular place you've got in mind? There's a lot of beaches in this world.
I know. I'm thinking St. Thomas, but like we'll see what happens.
That's good.
I have a kiddo, so I'm a little partial to him, obviously, but I would like to not be in the States.
Okay. Well, that's you got to have goals, right?
Yeah, it's a great goal.
And how are you planning on reaching your goals?
I do quite well, so it's fine. Yeah, I plan on financing his education. My big thing is education because my son is number one with me, and so where he plans on going to school, and yesterday was Harvard, so that was a little bit disconcerting, but that's fine. And but I plan on
have to bring that down to hot dogs on the beach.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough there. But the thing is, though, just it's fine. So I'll figure it out. We're good.
Well, congratulations on that. I know, I've heard so many wonderful things, and you've got some very interesting clients that you're getting out there, putting out there. So I wish you, definitely the best of luck with all that. So, anything else you want to share before we wrap up the show?
No, just I think my biggest thing is anyone that has a stylist who's a stylist that's actually in the States. I would love to invite them to the event that's in St. Thomas this year, because it's completely, hands down, one of the most interesting things that I've ever promoted as a publicist.
Okay.
And so that's my big thing. That's my big thing right now.
So will you have information on your website?
Absolutely.
Okay, for one more time, repeat that.
Yes, mcommunicationsinc.com.
Okay. All right. So if anybody's interested in being a stylist?
Stylist, or just being there for the biggest international stylist on the universe is going to be there. And just, it's a huge invite.
Awesome. And when's that going to take place?
June 18th through the 25th.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your expertise. It's been wonderful talking with you. And everybody, I'd like to thank my wonderful crew for coming out today and volunteering their time. There's a whole host of them today. We are just loaded with new volunteers, and I'm very grateful to have everybody. So with that, we're going to say goodnight. Thanks again.
Thank you.